Here, I will explain the chapter on chapter and characterization. Let's just get started. Character is a collection of traits that are always admired as sign of a person's goodness, virtue, and moral maturity. Etymological, the term character comes from the Latin character, which means character, mental qualities, manner, personality, and moral. Characterization is an attempt to display the character or character of the character being played. Character are the attitude of the character depicted by the author in a literary work. Character element. Number 1. Emotion. Emotion is feeling or mental turmoil that arises within a person as a result of stimulation, both from within oneself and from outside. Number 2. Self-concept. Self-concept is a person's way of viewing and attitude toward themselves. Self-concept is very closely related to physical dimension, individual character, and self-motivation. Number 3. Habit and desire. A person's strong habit and desire will greatly influence the formation of this character. A habit of acting and acting is a reflection of a person's character. Number 4. Truth. In this case, truth is component obtained from socio-psychological factors which can also influence a person's character. A person's confidence can build and person's disposition and character through the learning process. Number 1. Sanguine. This type of character basically explains the character which is characterized by certain individuals who like to socialize with other people in their surrounding environment. This type of character is often termed extrovert. Apart from that, sanguine is also famous for this characteristic. Number 1. Easy to get along, active, competitive, and optimistic. And number B. Melancholy. The melancholy character type basically describes a character characterized by an individual who does not like interacting with other individuals in the surrounding environment, or tends to close himself off from outside his environment, is a hard thinker and tends to be pessimistic. The melancholic character type is often termed introvert. Melancholy also has several other characteristics, including: Number 1. Pay attention to small detail. Number 2. Easily suspicious. Number 3. Sensitive. And number C. Choleric. The choleric character type basically describes a character who is characterized by having a personality that is formed in making decisions, like to organize, likes to go on adventure, enjoys challenging things, and is optimistic or doesn't give up easily. Apart from that, what we can know from other characteristics of choleric are as follows. Number 1. Analytical and logical, self-confidence. And number 3. Consistent, and last, independent. And number D, phlegmatic. The phlegmatic character type basically describes a character that is identical to a disposition that tends to the relaxed and indifferent. This type of character can more easily reconcile with life in various situations. The following are its other characteristics. Number 1, calm. Number 2, tend to stay away from conflict. Number 3, have high loyalty, happy to help other people, difficult to adapt to new habits. And the little magical. There are 3 characters in the story. Number 1, little girl. Number 2, father. And number 3, grandmother. The characteristics of the 3 figures include: number 1, little girl. The characteristics of the little girl are choleric because she is optimistic or doesn't give up easily. And number 2, dead. Meanwhile, the father characteristics are sanguine because the sanguine is the type of person who is impatient, aggressive, and rude. And number 3, grandmother. The last one is a grandma. Grandmother has phlegmatic characteristic because the characteristic of a phlegmatic is someone who has a loving and gentle nature.
Now, I would like to tell you about the setting of the story of The Little Magical. The first is about setting of time. The story is happened on the last evening of the year that we can refer to the first page and the first lines. Most terribly cold it was. It snowed and was nearly quite dark and evening, the last evening of the year. And next is at the cold hour of dawn, that we can refer to the third page and the 9 lines. And next is on the 1845 as the story published in this year. Probably the story is around the same time. And the second is about the setting of place. The place of the story is along the street, that we can refer to the first page and the second lines. And then is in a corner formed by 2 houses, that we can refer to the first page and the 11 lines. And then is in the corner leaning against the wall, that we can refer to the third page and the 9 line. The last one is about the setting of atmosphere. The atmosphere of the story is cool, snow, and quiet dark, that we can refer to the first page on the line 1, line 2, line 5, line 8, and line 9.
The next material is plot. The plot in the story The Little Magical by Hans Andersen it contains exposition, switching action, climax, falling action, and resolution. The exposition shows that the story began by describing the misery experienced by little girl. Little girl walked barefoot on the street in the cold night. She carried a lot of matches in her bag and 1 pack of matches in her hand. The exposition shows in paragraph 1 to paragraph 2. The hissing action in the story shown when the little girl sat between two walls, hungry and shivering coldly. She took the New Year's Eve. It is contained in paragraph 3 to paragraph 6. And next, climax starts when the girl gets matchstick into the wall. It's burned and giving her warmth. The girl imagines things like warm furnace and food, yet all disappeared when matchstick was burned. Afterward, she saw her beloved grandmothers. The climax contained in paragraph 7 to paragraph 11. Funny action occurs when she burned the rest of her matches in an attempt to keep the vision of her grandmothers with her, begging to accompany her in heaven. This part falling action contained in paragraph 12 to paragraph 13. And finally, resolution. The story was end with the girl was seen dead the next morning of New Year. This part is contained in paragraph 14. Okay, the next material is conflict. Conflict in the story is about person versus self. The girl felt lonely, hungry, and cold. She is afraid that her failure to sell matches will earn her blows from her father. So she hallucinates seeing her dead grandmothers and begs her to take her to heaven. This is indicated in paragraph 13. In line, "Grandmother," cried the child, "oh, take me with you. I know you will disappear when the match is burned out. You will vanish like the warm stove, the wonderful rose ghost, and the beautiful big Christmas." And she quickly struck the whole bundle of matches, for she wishes to keep her grandmother with her. This indicates the person versus self.
Okay, now I would like to tell you about point of view from the story of the little match girl. The point of view from this story is limited to the third person and concentrates on the viewpoint of the young match girl. The reader can empathize with the tiny match girl misery by viewing the world through her perspective. The narrator's use of strong sensory information contribute to the reading experience's vivid and immersive quality. Okay, the next is theme. The main theme of the first Little Match Girl story is cruelty, directed at the little girl. Cruelty coming from all directions. Her father would beat her if she returned home without bringing it home any matches. The train almost hit her down in the snow. An urchin would stole her slippers, and no one tried to help her as she froze to death. Despite this injustice, the girl remained virtuous, never questioned or fight or commit atrocities themselves. Her ascension to heaven was her means to escape from her cruelty endured. The next theme is struggle. At a very young age, the girl in the story struggles to earn money to support herself and her father, even though the girl was cold, hungry, and exhausted. She didn't give up and was still trying to do her job. The author also mentions that the girl couldn't go home without money like her father had done with him, which shows how destructive this struggle is.
From the story The Little Match Girl, which tells the story of a little girl who saw matches under the falling snow to make ends meet. Her boyfriend makes her unable to live a normal life like other children. Her father is too hard on her, so she is afraid to face him and makes her have to fight alone in the middle of the dark night by selling matches around the street with the cord that comforts her. The moral message that can be taken from the story Little Match Girl is that no matter how tough the problems we face, keep smiling and living life and never give up on what we want to achieve, because giving up is not the right way for us to realize our dreams. Life is a choice to live everything that has been destined for us, because we are the only ones who can help to realize our dreams in determining our future. In addition, Parents must also fulfill the need of their children no matter what, because it is one of the responsibilities that must be fulfilled. All children deserve to be happy with what they have. It's all the analysis from Group 1A about the story of the Little Magic Girl. Thank you for everything.